folks, earlier tonight we talked about Gavin Newsom and his conversation with Ben Shapiro, and I mentioned that Gavin Newsom is a creature of third way consultancy. You know, people who basically advocate on behalf of, you know, big corporations and big money donors in the Democratic Party. Essentially, their mission is to turn Democrats into conservatives, into Republicans. They unfortunately have a sizable influence on the Democratic Party on the national level. And here is just a piece of reporting here. Democrats warned to steer clear of the abolish ICE slogan. Democrats need to drop the abolish ICE political slogan if they have a hope of winning back the majority in Congress. A center-left think tank is warning, and I want to say anyone who describes third way as center-left, I think is really smoking some shit. Like that must be some powerful bud you got there. Third way, oh, there we go. In a memo to Democrats shared first with NBC News, warned Democrats against talking in extreme terms in the wake of the highly charged days following the ICE shooting of Renee Nicole Good. The impulse is emotional. The slogan is simple, but politically it is lethal. A memo written by Sarah Pierce and Lene Erickson, leaders of social policy for Third Way. Every call to abolish ICE risks squandering one of the clearest opportunities in years to secure meaningful reform of immigration enforcement while handing Republicans exactly the fight they want. And like, I'm sorry, but you're like, as Democrats, your job is to beat Republicans. Your job is not to retreat from Republican messaging. Your job is to beat Republican messaging. You know, your job is to like fight these guys. Like, my city is under armed occupation from these fuckers. They're gassing children. They are pointing long guns in people's faces. They are like breaking and entering on private property and abducting people off the street. You know, there are stories where like you have like a handful of seconds to whip out your phone, hit the record button, and yell out, "What's your name?" And hopefully, maybe, if you're lucky, in some of the cases you witness, like someone will be able to get their name out and you will be able to maybe find them in the system. Their loved ones might have a hope of finding them. Okay? And in response to this grave threat to the freedom and security of an entire U.S. state, they're like, oh, but you're going to squander opportunities to reform the agency if you decide to try and fight on this. We watched a video of an innocent woman getting shot in the face to death in front of her wife after they dropped off their child at school. If that's not the time you're going to throw down and fight your hardest for your constituents and for the American people, when is it? How on earth do you think any amount of reform is going to like fix this? How do you like? How? What do you think is going to fix this? They are recruiting people into this institution from neo-Nazi forums with neo-Nazi white supremacist memes and songs and slogans. They are, as a recruiting tool, threatening to deport all non-white people from the United States. How do you reform this? The answer is you don't. You wipe the slate clean. If you absolutely need some kind of blueprint to operate on, you revert back to INS. The INS operated for a long time with, you know, nowhere near the number of issues ICE has. Use that as a framework and make something better than what it was. But you do not, under any circumstances, you fucking clean house. When you get in charge of ICE, you fucking clean house and you use the records that ICE maintains in order to prosecute every single ICE bureaucrat and agent that allowed this to happen. And if you aren't willing to do that, you do not have a place right now in American politics. You have no business being here. Get the fuck out of the way. Let someone younger, let someone who actually gives a fuck about people have a chance at power. And just very interestingly here, here's what Chuck Schumer had on the docket today.
In the weeks and months to come, the American people will also hear from Democrats on other areas where we're fighting to lower costs. As I mentioned, food costs, energy costs, groceries, health care, child care, and so many other things Americans pay for every day. Democrats are ready to get to work. And as I said, costs, the high cost of living, the affordability crisis, will be our focus throughout 2026, because that's what the American people are demanding. And we will show how the Trump administration and Republicans have made costs even worse, and what Democrats will do when we get power to reduce those costs in a very significant way that will affect every single American.
Hey, just real quick, it doesn't matter if you reduce the costs of all of those things to absolutely and completely free if people are too scared to go to their local grocery store or go to their local child care center or go to fucking work. It does not matter how low you bring the costs if people are afraid of being blackbagged off the streets or being pulled over and disappeared. We've got cases in this city where people are being pulled out of cars and the cars are being left in drive so they continue to roll down the street. Like, how you get into work if you're just being pulled out of your own moving vehicle? Like, I'm sorry, there's an armed occupation of my city. How the fuck, like, what? People here are worried about whether or not their kid is going to be, like, abducted from school. They're worried about, like, their kid's special aid instructor being disappeared. There were, like, 15 ICE agents outside of an elementary school, like, just yesterday. And you know what? There are stories about ICE agents popping up outside and around preschools, elementary schools, high schools, middle schools. You can't live life like this. It is intolerable. And, oh, hey, boy, howdy. This is what Chuck Schumer's team emailed out today. Let's see. Schumer remarks and talkers on Democrats' plans to address affordability crisis. Okay. Republicans send costs skyrocketing, create chaos in economy. Okay. Grocery costs. Laser focused on the housing costs to Americans. All right. Stop predator, boost home ownership. Okay. Talkers on Verizon service outage and the need for the FCC to mandate that companies compensate consumers for service disruptions. I mean, like, these are fine talking points, but it is notable the absence of anything to do with immigration. And I want to say this is especially concerning and bizarre considering the latest polling is that for the first time ever, more Americans, like a majority of Americans, support abolishing ICE. The trajectory of this conversation is that ICE can, in fact, be abolished. If politicians pick up the messaging of abolish ICE and, like, repeat it ad nauseum and build that public support, we can, in fact, actually abolish ICE. We can do it. But we need people of courage to stand up and actually full-throatedly endorse it and push it. And Chuck Schumer's not going to do that. He's barely even pushing his own talking points that he's putting out, which we're going to focus on affordability and making life better for everyday Americans. Like, what is up with this Ben Stein act? Dude sounds like he's about to fall asleep mid-sentence. Like, we do not believe that you are going to make things cheaper, number one. And we also sure as shit don't believe you when you're not even deigning to address the fact that major American cities are being occupied by these masked goons disappearing folks. I'm so fucking angry. But I do want to say, I'm taking hope right now in the strength of various folks in the community who are pushing back, and that we are not, in fact, alone here in Minnesota. There are people all across the country who are standing up to fight for us. shout out to this absolute hero, okay, who stood up for immigrants and stood up against ICE and paid an incredibly high cost for doing so.
Well, can you tell us about your injuries now and the prognosis? Will you be blind in that eye for life?
From what I've heard the doctors say and everyone else, yes, I will be blind for life. They said my globe was ruptured. I had my lower lid was cut up, and they had to take skin from my temple to fix it. There's a lot to it. I don't remember all the things that they said. I have fractures in my skull that they can't fix, and I can't sneeze or cough because it's dangerous too. I remember also when I shot, there was pepper in it, and I had pepper down my throat. It made it hard to breathe for a long time. They pulled a piece of plastic the size of a nickel out of my eye. They said I had shards of metal, glass, and plastic all throughout my eye and behind my eye and in my skull. And they also said that I had a piece of shrapnel metal about a few millimeters away from my carotid artery. And they said it was a miracle I survived, because if it got any closer, if it hit that, I would have died that night.
Totally blind right now? You see nothing out of the eye?
Nothing out of this eye. Yeah, it's black.
Well, can you tell us about your...
Folks, they have a GoFundMe I'm going to post here in the chats. I boosted it on Blue Sky a few days ago, but here you go. Here you go. Like, just absolutely a goddamn hero. We all should respect this kind of heroism. But like, holy shit. What a high price to pay. Like, just to be very clear, this was the circumstance right before the shooting. He's standing with a microphone. He is standing far away from them. ICE officer raises the gun, shoots him directly in the head. Absolutely disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. Prosecute every fucking ICE agent. And, but I will say there are other folks standing up as well. One of the things I talked about every time we've mentioned ICE here in Minneapolis is that Target has been allowing ICE to stage in their parking lots, which has presented a huge problem because, hey, guess what? Target employees, including children who work at Target, like collecting carts and stuff, have been getting targeted by ICE. Many of you will remember the video that I showed you all of a 17-year-old being abducted by ICE and then dropped off on the other side of town in a Walmart parking lot in sub-zero temperatures with multiple broken bones in absolute tears. That poor kid. Well, local faith leaders have organized. There's a group locally called Isaiah, Minnesota, for a kind of a coalition of different faith leaders in the area. And they all went to Target HQ, which is actually in Minneapolis. Over 100 faith leaders went, and this was the scene there.
We shall not be moved. We can stay here all day. We shall not be moved, just like a tree that's planted by the water. We shall not be moved.
We are shopping elsewhere.
We are shopping elsewhere. We shall not be moved. We are shopping elsewhere. We shall not be moved, just like a tree that's planted by the water. We shall not be moved all day.
You know, like, people are rising up in a wide variety of different ways, and I think that this diversity of tactics has been a huge win. Like, it is putting pressure in a bunch of different and unpredictable ways on the structures in the community that have been, to some degree, supporting what ICE has been doing here. And I just want to say, like, I think it's wonderful. I think that this is exactly the kind of thing and exactly the kind of ways that I was hoping the community would stand up and oppose fascism in. Like, keeping folks on their toes is good. They never know exactly how folks are going to react, and I think that that's a good thing. You know? Here is an anti-ICE protest outside of one of the local hotels that was allegedly housing members of ICE. Yo, we need more protest bards, all right? We need more protest bards, okay? Like, make sure these fuckers don't get the sleep they need, all right? Like, make sure that they cannot rest until they go the fuck home. These noise protests outside of hotels, I think, have been great. Make these hotels think twice before they rent out to a bunch of ICE agents. You know? Also, like, we in Minneapolis, we're not alone. You know, folks are rising up all across this country to organize against ICE. Brad Lander, earlier today said ICE must be abolished. It must become a lawless it has become a lawless rogue agency. Federal law enforcement agencies must follow the law if they're going to have any credibility enforcing it. We are demanding justice for Renee Good and the prosecution of ICE agent Jonathan Ross for her murder. And, like, goddamn, Lander is real. Lander is a real one. We need more folks seeking elected office calling for the complete and total abolishment of ICE. And he put this out there as well.
What do we do? Stand up, fight back!
Thank you, Brad. Want you to be our representative.
Okay, all right.
So
Well,
glad you're
I'm
running.
working hard for it.
Go for Brad! Woo!
Thank you. Killing it. We got a good crowd. We got good. What a messed up time.
We're out here by the tens of thousands to say that we're not going to become a fascist nation despite what Trump is doing.
We want ICE off our streets!
Now they're assassinating, murdering citizens in Minneapolis, where ICE murdered Renee Good, who we're out here in memory of today, taking over other countries without any legal basis, violating the whole idea of a world that could be at peace. So, what are people doing? They're saying we're going to march, we're going to show up.
All agents to be got shame walked through every major city.
Yeah, you know, unironically, I would not be opposed to a measure like that, Sake Tanuki. And thank you for the 5 tier 1 subs. Like, I'm not opposed to the idea that some degree of public shaming of these individuals might be required. Like, the extraordinary amount of suffering and crime, like the extraordinary amount of suffering that they have enacted, and the depths of their criminality and crimes against not just like individuals, which of course they have, but against like our entire society, I think might necessitate something similar. Obviously, like, I don't know, not exactly one for one with Game of Thrones, but like there needs to be some kind of name and shame mechanic at play, formalized with any kind of accountability for what they're doing. Also, yeah, Kat Abu Ghazaleh, folks, is also top tier along with Brad Lander. Really excited that they're both running for office.
We will not be afraid. This is a moment for everyone to stand up and say, we love the rule of law, we love our neighbors, we love the idea of democracy. We will not go quietly.
What do we do?
We will not go quietly indeed. We're going to be loud as fuck. And I did want to throw this out there because I think it's just a nice reminder that folks are talking about it. here is Midas Touch just doing a brief back and forth on the steps of the Capitol.
And Stephen Miller seems to be operating sort of as a shadow president at this point. Can you think of any legal liability he could face on the back end of this presidency?
Well, there's going to be legal and I think criminal liability for multiple members of this administration, certainly including Stephen Miller. They continue to just violate the law, violate the Constitution, violate our moral standing and values as Americans. So we are already readying investigations across a whole bunch of committees in our caucus to be ready on day one when we retake the majority, when the voice of the people are brought back here to the House. So absolutely.
Got it. Thank you so much, Congressman.
Yeah.
You know, it is nice to know that members of Congress are already prepping to launch investigations into these absolutely vile pieces of shit like Stephen Miller. I do appreciate that. There is a part of me that needed to be reminded that, like, Stephen Miller does not have immunity here. He's just a guy. He's not the president. He does not enjoy the immunity of the president. And this guy who is almost single-handedly unleashed so much terror onto my streets is going to one day get his comeuppance. I'm so fucking angry. And I'm going to end on this particular note, okay? I'm going to end on this particular note. I think this interview that Status Quo News did really resonated with me, and I think it's indicative of where a lot of folks are at after ICE has been in our city for, like, I don't know, a week and a half, 2 weeks.
This is nuts. This is fucking, yeah, and you're right in the middle of this shit. What the fuck is going on, dude? This is insane.
Have you ever gone out to these sort of things before?
Never. I've never protested in my life. My brother's here. He does it all the time. I've never. Yeah. Like I said, I'm far enough away, but close enough, and I sit in my cushy house and look at shit and get mad, and they're just trying to fucking scare people, and, you know, but why shoot people? You know what really pisses me off is the fact that they detain people, cuff them, and then still beat the shit out of them. They tell you it's immigrants, only immigrants. It's fucking anybody. I have friends that got detained, and all they were doing was fucking driving home from work. What the fuck?
Sounds like you don't fit the definition of the,
When you need to see a fascist go through a whole Azula-level breakdown live on air when his fascism blows up in his face, it's Miller time.
Indeed. Indeed. Sake Tanuki, thank you again for supporting the show. Thank you for the 5 tier 1 subs. I am immensely appreciative of the support. It allows me to do what I do. So thank you so much. And there's a little bit left of this. Let's see here. Back to the cut.
Sounds like you don't fit the definition of the,
No, and I'm not fucking paid to be here like everybody fucking says. What the fuck is that? I gotta work in the goddamn morning, just like everybody else. I'm just here trying to stand up for community, dude. We're all human beings here. I don't give a shit who you are, where you came from, what color you are. It doesn't fucking matter. This is wrong.
And I think that, like, the fact that this guy, someone who has never been to a protest before, saw that there was a shooting, that ICE shot a guy, and he strapped on his coat, went out into the frozen night, got his goggles on, safety goggles, in order to stand up against ICE. This is where a lot of folks in Minneapolis are right now. Folks who have never protested before are turning up. Folks who have never been involved in, like, the political scene are turning up. And this is, I guess, where I'm getting a lot of my hope. That people who, 5 years ago, 4 years ago, would have never dreamed of going to a protest, sat at home and, just passively absorbed the current events. They're showing up and they are fucking furious. You could hear that guy's voice trembling with rage. And he's going not only is he going they're saying we're paid protesters. I'm out here. I'm not getting paid. I gotta go to work. The narratives they're spinning about us are lies. They're saying they're picking up immigrants and only the bad ones, but they're picking up every damn buddy. They're stopping people who are trying to get home from work and disappearing them into their system. And it is both a very terrifying time and yet a very hopeful time, because I do not see ICE outlasting the kind of spirit that they are waking up in everyday working people. You know, like, they might think, oh, we got a bunch of money, we got a bunch of ICE agents, let's go and intimidate some Minnesotans. Look, it's not that big of a state, it won't be that big of a deal, don't you worry. But guess what? Turns out we actually give a damn about our neighbors. It turns out we actually give a shit. And it turns out we're mad as fucking hell. And we're not gonna stop being mad until these occupiers go the fuck home, go back to wherever they came from, and you know what? They can wait right there, right up until we are able to marshal whatever power we need to ensure that they are brought to justice in front of a court of law. Because folks are that angry. We are not going to forgive the people who are doing this. We are not going to forget the people who are doing this. We are going to find out who they are, and we are going to hold them to account in our courts of law. A jury of their goddamn peers, the same peers that they've been terrifying for months now, will judge their guilt or innocence. And when that day comes, and only when that day comes, will our rage start to subside. Because what is happening in this community is just fucking wrong. Fascism itself, it's just fucking wrong. And any decent person, regardless of politics, any decent person can tell that. And if folks are just too blind to see that, then they can fuck off. They are inconsequential. And we will win. We will outlast these bastards, and we will win. So, all that being said, folks, we need to get organized. If we want to see that day happen, if we want to see the dawn of the day where these ICE agents are held to account, where we dismantle meticulously the Department of Homeland Security and ICE, then we got to get organized. So join your local Dems, join your local DSA. Make your DSA as effective as the New York DSA. Find yourself your own community Zoran Mamdani or Brad Lander. Get your local Democratic Party organized and radicalize them against these centrist corporate Democratic ghouls that are trying to strangle any potential of change away from the status quo that brought us Donald Trump. We need to defeat them in that room. In those rooms that they are in, where they make those decisions, we need to bring more people there than they can bring, and we need to beat them. A hostile takeover of the Democratic Party is what is called for. And not one that starts from the top down, one that starts from the bottom up. They will not be able to stop all of us. So, folks, if you need help getting started on that journey and on that mission, we have folks in our community that can help you. So join our Discord if you need some help. And reach out to GamerG for help organizing your local DSA. Reach out to Dragonfly for help organizing your local Dems and radicalizing your local Dems. And folks, we're going to do this shit, okay? And if you are looking for a way you can help specifically the Twin Cities DSA here in Minneapolis and St. Paul, folks, there is actually a call for donations to the ICE Out MN initiative here in Minneapolis. We are almost halfway to the goal. Too hot for ICE. Let's make it too hot for ICE. So, folks, if you are interested in making this happen and helping us get to our goal, I'm going to link that in all of the chats. Help us make that goal so we can get folks up to speed on how to do safe legal observing. The funds also go towards stuff like providing mutual aid to folks in the community who are too afraid or unable to go outside due to ICE activity. The money also goes to pressure different political figures in the community that in order to act against ICE. It also goes towards making know your rights materials and towards rental costs for getting space to do trainings. And a limited amount of it also goes to financially supporting folks who have lost income and livelihood as a result of ICE activity. So if any of you would like to help in that regard, it would be immensely appreciated. And folks, the last thing I'll say on this is we need to get organized, because the lunatics on the far right, they got organized enough to get Donald Trump into office. We need to get more organized than they are. So that being said, folks, organize with your Dems, organize with your DSA. If there are other groups in your local area that you want to organize with them too, okay? I'm not picky. And folks, we're going to bring this very long segment to an end. If you got anything out of this, hit the like button. Leave a comment longer than 8 words, because 8-word plus comments really help in the algorithm for whatever reason. And also hit that subscribe button if you haven't yet. Also, consider financially supporting the stream with memberships or donations or super chats, etc., because you guys make this show possible. If you guys did not support me, I don't have like a secret George Soros sponsor or anything. It is you guys. Last but not least, check out ImogeneOlivia.com, gender euphoric lingerie designed from the ground up for trans femmes and tested on cis men, cis women, non-binary folks. Basically, anyone who's tried it loves it. It is high quality feminine lingerie. Check it out. Link should be down in the doobly-doo. And all that being said, let's keep on going, because we are going to beat these ICE bastards.
Riverboat Jack is going to town. All the viewers gather round. Twitch and YouTube and swishy streams. All that content is bursting the seams. Politics, dating, plenty more. Your sense of fashion you'll adore. So grab your stuff and hop aboard. We're going straight to Jack's Discord. Riverboat Jack.